Hi, it's Adam here, and you're just about to listen to a hypnosis session all about someone that was negatively affected by very toxic relationships. Initially, a toxic relationship with their parents, but then a toxic relationship with a partner. And what was interesting about that is that they were treating these kind of key events in their life as almost evidence that they should hide away and avoid difficult situations. And that was actually causing a problem for them. So what actually you're going to hear in this session is a way of reframing the past in a way that they're able to harness their intuition. They're able to gain a new level of perspective and actually reactivate some of their natural qualities. So rather than avoiding, actually feeling quite courageous and confident and a sense of knowing what's right and wrong and believing that they can actually trust their intuition. So this hypnosis session uses something called regression. And regression is going back to a past event. And you can do that in two ways. You can go back in an associated way, and that is reliving the moment like it's happening in the present from a first-person perspective, or disassociated regression. And disassociated regression is when you have an observer. So it's almost like you're seeing yourself like you're somewhere else, someone else. And in this particular session, it made sense for it to be disassociated. Generally, it's good to associate into resourceful states and disassociate from anything traumatic or distressing. So what you're going to hear is an element of perspective that you get from disassociation, but also the ability to harness resources like preciousness and intuition and confidence. These are things that they're able to harness, but also to do some work about how they perceive things like their mother and their childhood and what it means for them to have been influenced in the way that they were. And this particular client was involved in a narcissistic style of relationship. And in fact, it certainly seems that their father had some of those qualities as well. So it has some elements of looking at how you actually protect yourself against some of those kind of dynamics, because those people with those kind of qualities will tend to use manipulation and deceit and other things to erode the confidence of an individual. So it's really important not to just assume and generalize that all people are like that, but to have certain ability to see the signs and have clear boundaries and ways of protecting yourself against history repeating. I think this session will be very good from anyone that has had distressing relationships, either with a parent or a partner, and that is impeding them for having any kind of desire to move on with the life. So if you can resonate with that, then you might get some value from this session. Be aware, though, that this session was created for a specific individual. Some of the references, like a child in a greenhouse, made sense for the client because that's where they spent a lot of time in their childhood. It may not make sense for you if you didn't have a greenhouse and you didn't spend time reflecting or playing in a place like that. So if you do like the idea of working with me directly, there will be a link in the description where you can schedule a free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that long breath of resourceful relaxation, and as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close, and the moment they close, feel an additional wave of relaxation, feeling that sense that tension, stress, worries are just leaving your body in that outward breath. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And I want you to scan your body for any clues of tension. Perhaps around your forehead, your jaw, your neck, or your shoulders. Just get a sense that that tension is being released, and you can feel that tension leaving your body in your outward breath. That's it. Deeper and deeper relaxed. In fact, think of a color that represents resourceful relaxation. Maybe yellow, orange, or another bright color. And as you breathe in, imagine breathing in that bright, warm color, imagining it melting away any stress, worries, or tension. And then, on your outward breath, just imagine dark, shadowy colors leaving your body in that outward breath. Seeing anything unresourceful leave your body, but breathing in that resourceful relaxation. That's it. Deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine drifting back in time at your current age, but visiting the past. I want you to imagine a house in a particular part of England with a garden and a greenhouse. And I want you to imagine how it would feel to just touch down there in that garden. I want you to imagine a sunny day, blue skies, and just feel a sense of perhaps nostalgia as you look around that garden, perhaps a garden you haven't seen in many years. And I wonder if you could imagine a small child playing in a greenhouse. Maybe you recognize her, just 7 or 8 years old. But I want you to imagine seeing a precocious little girl, full of imagination, energy, positivity. And maybe you see that little girl painting the sides of the greenhouse, or making a concoction with different ingredients all mixed together. And just imagine tapping on the window of that greenhouse, seeing that little girl look up at you, asking who you are. And in a playful tone of voice, I want you to tell this little girl that you are them from the future. And of course, she doesn't believe you. That is until you tell this little girl that you know a secret that only they would know. And I want you to imagine sharing that secret. And when this little girl is convinced that you are them from the future, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to give this little girl a hug. that she is capable, wonderful, that she is loved. And I want you to imagine what it would be like just to listen to this little girl. Ask what's happening in her world at this time. Maybe there's a fusion of energy, naivety, playfulness, maybe something else. I want you to be someone that truly listens, gives them all the attention they need. And then I want you to imagine what it would be like to give advice, coaching, if you will, to this little girl, because you know what happens later. You know the challenges. You know everything they will experience. And I want you to feel that you can prepare them without letting them know exactly what will happen. Give them the tools, the strategies, the perspective to deal with those things that you know that they will deal with. Maybe think to some of the most challenging times in your childhood, and I wonder what it would have been helpful for you to know or to think about those times to help you navigate them. And when you've shared those insights, that advice, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And maybe tell them, in case you haven't already, tell them that they get to choose the life they want. They don't have to just take whatever life throws in their direction. They can be the architect, the navigator, the captain of their own ship. And imagine giving them a glowing ball of energy, and allow this glowing ball of energy to represent whatever resource you wish you had more of back then in your childhood. And in return, this little girl offers you a drink, a concoction. But since it's your imagination, make this drink glowing. This is the resource you had back then, in abundance. And maybe it's preciousness. Maybe it's optimism. Maybe it's a sense of following your intuition. Whatever it is, just imagine drinking that concoction and feeling that you are reawakening those qualities within you now. I want you to thank this little girl for that precious gift. Tell her again she's loved. Give her a hug and then say goodbye. And see her carrying on, having fun in that little greenhouse. And then imagine going forwards in future. I want you to see yourself at perhaps just 14 or 15 years old. Maybe it's older. But I want you to see a time where you didn't feel safe that something happened that made you question whether or not you even wanted to be in a certain place. But I want you to imagine, not taking your perspective, I want you to imagine climbing in to the body of your mother. Your mother's body, but your voice and your experience. But this time, I want you to defend that version of you, protect that version of you, to mother that version of you. I want you to see what happened from your mother's eyes, but with your experience. And I want you to update things the way you feel would have made you feel safe, made you feel protected, made you feel loved in that moment. I want you to give a voice to someone that had lost theirs, to say what really should have been said in that moment. And when you've done that, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine seeing that situation end. And imagine having a conversation with that 15-year-old version of you, still in your mother's body, but the voice is yours. Again, I want you to give that 15-year-old the advice you wish you had. I want you to feel that when that younger version of you talks, that you can really listen, really understand, to give reassurances that you wish you had back then. But it may be that your mother needed your advice. And I want you to imagine being in your mother's body, hearing the words your mother needed to hear, to listen to. Maybe something as simple as, you don't have to put up with this. You don't have to tolerate this. And imagine a seed of an idea is buried deep in that moment. The idea that people don't get what they deserve. They get what they tolerate. And allow all of these experiences that you've seen, observed before and after, to solidify that belief. To come to the irrefutable conclusion: boundaries and standards are the solution, not avoidance. Think of how many times your mother avoided conflict, avoided confrontation, and in doing so, the very essence of her was eroded. Avoidance didn't serve your mother, and it won't serve you. Resourcefulness will serve you. Belief will serve you. Harnessing your intuition and wisdom will serve you. Having high standards will serve you. And when you feel you have a new perspective, let me know by nodding your head. Before you leave, give that 15-year-old version of you a hug. Tell them they're loved. Tell them that they are destined for amazing things, that they're so capable. But also hear words you wanted to hear if you were your mother in that moment. And maybe it's just thanks. Thanks for having my back. Thanks for defending me. One final hug and then it's time to leave. But you leave not as your mother, but as you. Going forwards in time to when you were 21 years old. To see a moment, a fork in the road where things could have gone either way. I want you to imagine you're invisible now. And in a key moment, I want you to whisper words that become intuition to enable that 21-year-old version of you to realize that they can trust their intuition. I want you to imagine you can't change the past, but what you can do is demonstrate to yourself that going back in time you would do something different, knowing what you now know. That you can close the loops of the past by knowing you would do something different. They say that history repeats itself until the lesson is learned. And I want you to imagine seeing the lesson learned. Even if there is tenacity and manipulation, I want you to see that that version of you goes with their gut, trusts their intuition, doesn't back down. And in doing so, I want you to see the most empowered, strong, precocious version of you in that moment. And then step into that version of you. No longer the invisible voice of intuition, but you at your most empowered, refusing to be swayed, feeling aligned, confident in your choice. In fact, the harder they try to manipulate, the more your self-belief and inner strength is amplified. And if you feel, knowing what you now know, you would absolutely do things different, then it is evidence that the lesson is learned. And if the lesson is learned, why do you need avoidance to protect you? You can use discernment, wisdom, and intuition to protect you. When your unconscious is now aligned with this new belief of how you will keep yourself safe, let me know by nodding your head. And then it's time to leave that moment, but with new associations, new meanings, a new narrative. Something that springs you forward, not holds you back. It's time to return back to the here and now. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Start to connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.